Now, everyone loves Nerf guns. They're the safest way to shoot your friends. But they do have one or two issues. The limited power means you don't always nail what you're aiming at. So how can you hit your target every time, but without increasing the power? Our ultimate Nerf gun has to look the part, so we're starting with some computer-assisted design for 3D printing the outer shell. With a classic orange and silver coloring, this shouldn't look out of place in any Nerf arsenal. Once the design is done, we can let the boys get to work overnight. If you look top right, you can see the kind of tragedy that always seems to happen when you're filming. That's a redo. Now we can really get to work. The parts come off the plates easily enough, but we do have a lot of flash to clean off. There's something about building up a stock of parts like this that's really therapeutic. This is the point where the idea you had starts to become a reality. And after 2 hours of prep, our parts are ready for finishing. We want to make sure the finished gun looks and feels just right. These parts were printed using PLA filament. It has very little flex, which is good, but it is susceptible to heat. It's a vegetable-based plastic, so it's non-toxic and biodegradable. Print lines and flash have been removed, and the parts are finished. You know you've done enough sanding when there's this much powder to sweep up. Now, the assembly. I used PLA filament for the printing, which is really easy to glue. Also, the design includes holes for pinning the frame together, so there's no structural wobbliness to worry about. It's little touches like this that make things much easier further down the line. Our adhesive is dichloromethane, which also works on acrylic. It's a thin fluid, very quick to evaporate. It's the kind of adhesive that melts the materials together, so it's not actually sticky on its own, so you can spill it and wipe it up without any mess. I accidentally licked a finger with dichloromethane on it once, and it was incredibly sweet. But this is not good for your health, so do not try it at home. trying to hook up the air tubes after assembly would be a nightmare, so we take care of that in advance. And with that, the frame is complete. Next is the internals. This is our firing mechanism. This kind of air cannon is very efficient at releasing pressurized air in an instant, so you get a lot of bang for very little air pressure. Let's give it a test. This little mini cannon is just for testing. For our Nerf cannon, we're going with 10 times the capacity. This is the kind of air power we need. Printing the screw holes just a tiny bit narrow gives the screw thread plenty to bite into for a solid assembly. Just don't make the hole too small or tighten too much, or the plastic is likely to crack open. For some reason, I never really refer back to my designs during assembly, so I tend to screw things up. I think subconsciously I don't want to see my own terrible handwriting. The cannon is now complete, after about 15 hours of work. So how do you shoot it? Here's our CO2 tank. The pressure is far too powerful as is, so we need a regulator. First, you open the main valve, then press this button to send pressure to the trigger unit. Then you rotate the pressure feed selector and add pressure to the main tank, checking the pressure as you go. We want to limit the pressure to about 0.2 to 0.4 MPa, or 30 to 60 psi. With the pressure raised, we are ready to fire. I call this part the Beehive. Loading it takes 50 Nerf darts. The barrels are spread at an angle to scatter fire the darts, bringing instant area suppression to your Nerf battle. The Nerf color scheme always looks good. It's just a shame the dart tips are all orange. Viewed together like this, they start looking like some kind of poisonous jungle plant. Or fungal spore pod. One of the best features of the Beehive is these two connectors. These let you change out fully loaded muzzle units in a flash. I have some ideas for other muzzle units, so I may make some more in the future. Time for a test fire. Wait a second. Can we see that in slow motion? The bottles have cunningly dodged between the darts. This dispersal pattern looks fantastic, but we haven't achieved our goal of guaranteed impact. Back to the drawing board. Introducing the Beehive Stinger. Concentrated firepower. We even have a 10% increase in load, 55 darts. Back to the firing range. Good grouping. Now that is guaranteed to hit. And from another angle? Our guaranteed hit Nerf gun is complete. This is fun. You should make one too.